So you want a Subaru, but you're not quite sure which one. And between these two vehicles, let me tell you, the difference is in more than just looks. Now, for most folks, we would recommend the Outback, but both these vehicles have some big deal breakers depending on what your priorities are.
We're Edmunds, and we test hundreds of cars each year on the road and at our private track, so you get the most trusted reviews. If you want to know which car, truck, or SUV is the best, then stick with us.
This is the Subaru Forester. Actually, this is our Subaru Forester. We bought it for our one-year road test fleet to the tune of $41,000, and it is a limited hybrid. Now, of course, you may or may not pay that money. It depends on dealers in your area, but hey, we've got tools on the site to help you figure out what you should pay. So we'll drop links in the description for both cars, or you can just click on that QR code. Now, the Forester is a perfectly serviceable compact SUV, especially if you like Subaru and you get the hybrid, but that doesn't mean that there is not a ton of room for improvement. React to my finger! You guys. Perhaps the biggest disappointment in this vehicle is the tech. I mean, I've got this big old touchscreen, right? And I mean, sure, it's laid out fine and the icons are really big. I've also got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto that is standard. I've also got plenty of charge ports, USB A and C, for some reason a headphone jack? I don't know. But it just doesn't react. It's super laggy, it's super buggy. All of these are just kind of blurry and really difficult to see. This is the worst touchscreen that you can get in any compact SUV that's on the market today. It is terrible. And the thing is, you have to use it. I mean, yes, there are some hard buttons here, like for the temperature control and for the volume, but things like the radio, turning the climate on, the navigation, the heated seats, it's all in the screen. So you're like super hot or super cold, you just want to get in there, listen to your favorite tunes. No, you have to deal with this. But I will say there is a ton of room in here. I mean, I'm 5'9", I could wear my Lincoln top hat in here and still be comfortable. Plus, I like that I've got big windows. It feels super light and airy, and the seats are really comfortable. They're more like living room chairs than they are car seats. Plus, where the hip point is and the fact that the door opens really wide, it's super easy to get in, even if you might have some mobility challenges. Materials, though, are kind of mixed. I mean, I do like this little hex pattern right here, but it also feels kind of like a scuba suit or like a backpack or something. Now, you can get leather in the upper spec of the Forester, but the materials in this mid-trim, they're not great. Now, as for storage, there is only one place to put your phone, and that is very convenient. It is in the phone wireless charger. But the center console here, it's pretty narrow, it's not very deep, and if you have a larger water bottle, it doesn't fit in here and it doesn't fit in the door. And don't get me started on this horrible backup camera. And look at this, 90 degrees. So not only does it mean it's really easy to get in and out, it's also easy to put in a car seat. But these seats are kind of bulky up here in front. So if you've got a rear-facing seat, you might need to sacrifice just a little bit of legroom up front. And these rear seats are actually pretty comfortable. And like I said, I got plenty of space. Plus there's some USB ports, I got AC vents. I got no complaints back here. Now, on paper, the Forester has got a lot less cargo room than the Outback, but remember what happened when we compared the Forester to the Honda CR-V hybrid?
And believe it or not, even though it has technically a smaller cargo area, the Subaru was able to fit more luggage. So that is a clear win then for the Forester Hybrid.
But what I really like back here is that I've got a 12-volt outlet, so I can plug in a cooler, I can keep a portable battery topped off, I've got grocery hooks everywhere, and those rear seats, they fold down with the touch of a button. However, I do not have a spare tire because it is the hybrid. And speaking of the hybrid, the driving experience in this thing, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. We'll start by saying this. If you can afford to upgrade to the Forester Hybrid, and we'll talk about pricing soon, you definitely want to do that. From behind the wheel, the standard gas Forester is uncomfortable, noisy, and really slow for merging and passing, and it's not especially efficient either. The Hybrid, on the other hand, I mean, yeah, first of all, the fuel economy is a lot better. 35 mpg isn't great among compact SUVs, but it's better than the standard car, and you'll save around $250 a year.
But you'll notice big differences away from the pump too. Instead of firm and busy over bumps like the gas Forester, the Hybrid is settled and comfortable with none of that jostling around, and there's not too much body roll when you go around corners either. The Hybrid also feels a lot more energetic. It's actually less powerful on paper, but strapping our test gear to both versions revealed that the Hybrid is about half a second quicker to get up to highway speeds. Plus, the electric motor that's part of the Hybrid system gives instant torque that makes the car feel zippy and eager around town, even if we could use a little bit more power at higher speeds. The boxy shape and the big windows that we mentioned in the interior section mean natural visibility is good, which makes the Forester feel easy to drive. But that shape has a downside too. There's more wind noise than we notice in similar SUVs, but the Hybrid actually has an advantage over the gas version because the engine isn't groaning in the background as often. But there's one driving problem that can't be solved by opting for the Hybrid, and that is the driver assist. The Forester does not have a great lane keeping assist. It doesn't keep you centered, it just kind of ping-pongs you in between the lane markings. And with adaptive cruise control, the combination of conservative tuning and both engines' relative lack of power means that the car can fall behind in dynamic traffic.
All right, so you know what, the Forester, you like it, it's Subaru, it's a compact SUV, fits your needs, perfect, done and done. But you could do a lot better. This is the Outback, and it starts at about $5,000 more than a base Forester and a couple grand more than the Forester Hybrid. So you'd think for a few $1,000s more, you might just get a little bit more car, right? A little bit more storage, a little bit more cargo, a little bit more space, yeah? No, you actually get a lot more. You guys, Subaru finally made an infotainment screen that is actually good to use. Now, the Outback debuts with a few things that really signal what is going to happen to the Subaru lineup in the next 5 years or so. And it all starts here with infotainment. So the screen is a little bit bigger than what you will get in the Forester, but what's great is the processing is so much faster. So it's so much more responsive and it feels a lot more modern when you're swiping around. All of the graphics have been redesigned and it's a high resolution screen. So everything just looks that much more crisp and clear. And the rear facing camera, years ahead of what's going on in the Forester. Plus, I've still got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto standard, wireless no less, and it makes better use of the space on the screen. And we love that you can also see a map in the cluster, although it is a little annoying that if you use Android Auto, you can only use Google Maps there. And I've got a bunch of physical buttons here for my HVAC, which means that they're easy to use. I don't have to mess around on the screen. The response is instant. Thank you. Buttons here on the steering wheel, again, nice and big, and then I still have the big tiles on the screen, so it's like the best of both worlds. And when it comes to space, I got this narrow console here, the big windows, everything feels just as big, if not bigger than what you have in the Forester, and it's easy to get in and out of too. And storage-wise, you've got this little pocket here that also has wireless charging. You got a little cubby hole right here. The center bin is nice and deep, and I love that you get a little passenger shelf. It's so cool when SUVs do that. And if you've made a resolution to drink more water, there's a carpeted door pocket. Boom, fits no problem. Now, it might not look like there's more room back here, but I assure you there is. The Outback actually has the same amount of legroom as the Forester, but you've got way more headroom and more shoulder and hip room. So you can fit 3 across here and they'll actually be able to breathe. Now in our trim of the Outback, we've also got heated outboard rear seats, but everyone is going to have AC vents, charging, and you also get this cool little pocket in the seat for your phone. I love that. Now, as for child seats, the rear doors don't open quite as wide, but there is still plenty of room for even a rear-facing car seat. Now, as expected, I've got way more room back here in the Outback than I do in the Forester. I mean, I could fit in twice as much luggage if I really needed to, but there are still some really cool things. I've got some grocery hooks here. These are a little bit more sturdy than what we saw in the Forester. I've still got a 12-volt outlet. I've got this cool little cargo net down here, and I've got a spare tire right here. It's not a full-size spare, it's just a donut, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. Oh, and you flip this little thing, and the seats go down. And if any of that is confusing, don't worry because Subaru has explained it all in dog right here on the rear pillars. Oh, this is so much better. It is really comfortable in here. The ride over bumps feels so much more plush than in the Forester, and Subaru didn't just make the suspension really soft because you still feel like you have total control around a corner. It's actually kind of fun to drive. Driver assists are way improved too. A lot of the features in the Outback are the same as what's in the Forester, but there is proper confident lane centering here, and the adaptive cruise control, while it still slips up here and there, it feels a lot more competent. What's more, the highest trim of the Outback is getting an update in the coming months that will add highway hands-free driving. That will be a huge step up from the Forester or the Outback's current capabilities. Now, we have real hands-free systems like that in a few of our one-year road test cars, and it can be a game changer for boring commutes or long road trips. There's also the engine here. In the Forester, the upgraded engine is the hybrid system, but in the Outback, it's a turbocharger. The Outback XT models like this one have around an extra 80 horsepower and 100 pound-feet of torque over the base car. And the base engine can feel pretty underpowered in the Outback, especially if you're trying to merge, pass, or accelerate up a hill with passengers and cargo in the car. But there are no problems like that with the XT. It can get to highway speeds more than 2 seconds faster than the Forester. There's plenty of power on tap. The engine does groan a bit when you put your foot in it, but generally the Forester and the Outback have similar noise levels. But the big downside with the Outback is fuel economy. Subaru is rumored to be working on an Outback Hybrid for next year with the same setup they put in the Forester, but for now, the best you'll get from an Outback is 27 miles per gallon or 24 miles per gallon with the turbo. So the Outback is clearly the better car here, but what we gotta talk about is the money. Now, we're gonna talk about value, but before that, you guys, if you have any questions about either of these vehicles or you have a specific video request, let me know in the comments. I swear to you, I go there and I read them. And it's 90 degrees today and I wore this sweater and I've been sweating all day. So give me a like and subscribe just to make me feel better. Okay, thank you. So, talking about money. The base Forester starts at right around $31,000, and a mid-trim hybrid like we like, that's about $42,500. The Outback, however, starts at $5,000 more, and a well-trimmed out limited XT with the turbocharged engine, that's about $46,000. But here's the thing. You gotta think about fuel savings too, because in their base forms, the Forester saves you about $100 a year on gas. If you chalk that up to those top engines, the Forester can save you $650 when you compare the hybrid to the turbo. That's a huge gap. All right, here's the thing. If the $31,000 for a Forester is a stretch for you, like, don't go take out some crazy loan to get an Outback. And if fuel economy is important, well, the Forester is the only one of these two that comes with the hybrid. Plus, you might like the styling better, and that's a perfectly good reason to want to buy a vehicle. But even though it's more expensive, because the Outback is Subaru's flagship model and it comes with all of these next generation features that aren't on the Forester, we think that the Outback is well worth the price. In fact, we might actually want to have a lower spec Outback over a higher spec Forester. The differences are that meaningful, and that really comes across when we look at our rankings. The Forester does not rank well among other compact SUVs. The awful tech, lack of refinement, and lazy powertrain, it just makes the Forester feel stuck in the past. Like all these other SUVs, even the ones that are older, like they've just moved past it. And if you are curious about any of our rankings, ratings, or reviews, you guys, we have a website that is chock full of them, and we update them all the time, so check it out. So, taking all that into account, the Outback, it is our #1 ranked midsize SUV, rising above the pack with intuitive, easy-to-use controls, modern tech, tons of space, and all of the features you could ever want from behind the wheel. Well, there's no doubt about it, the Outback is the one you want. So much that I'm gonna steal it all from the crew and take it home.